Mr. Yusuf, in Abuja. So, what do you think? Because this issue of subsidy has become kind of controversial, just as the issue of wage increments and all that has become kind of controversial. But in terms of the inroads of the federal government in the agricultural sector, what are you seeing as to a clear direction of what is needed to be done to drive food security?
Thank you very much for that question. But first of all, let us step back a bit and contextualize this, conversation with regards to agriculture so that we can appreciate where we are coming from, where we are, and then we can discuss way forward. And just to look at some numbers, based on the Central Bank of Nigeria in 2016, okay, we were told that in the 1960s, agricultural sector was contributing 85% foreign exchange earnings to Nigeria, 80% employment, and 90% to GDP. We all know where we are today. Recently, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, the president of the African Development Bank, also told us that Africa currently imports about $100 billion of food that we can actually produce, valued at about 75 billion annually. Okay? And just before then, his projection as at pre-COVID-19, around 2019, Mr. Adesina projected actually that by 2025, Africa may be importing over $120 billion worth of food. We contextualize that also from the issue of food security. Today, according to Dr. Adesina, over 280 million Africans go to bed hungry. And if you bring it home to Nigeria, according to the UN-funded support statistics on food and nutrition, as at last year, the projection is that by this year, August, over 25 million Nigerians were estimated to, be critically, food insecure. Now, these projections happened before the outcome of the misstep of CBN with regards to monetary policy, the increase in global warming and all that. Looking at all the issues and also the scam that went on with the, agri-interventions by CBN and all that. Moving forward, as far as I'm concerned, with due respect to the critical steps taken by Mr. President, I call them the critical initial steps or the short term. Now he has a Federal Executive Council, we have ministers in play. There must be a formulation of what I term as agricultural sectorial reform strategy that will cover infrastructure, that will cover, first of all, fundamental is insecurity, to tackle insecurity, and then look at critical infrastructure, improving production, value addition, storage, logistics, supply chain, and all that, standardization of our process and all that. Unless we have a strategy that will cover the short to long term, the knee-jerk activities for the short term will not be sustainable, will not be impactful. Global warming or the climate change is increasing. The insecurity issue is still on ground. So while we appreciate the initial steps taken, albeit they were taken as part of the moment to deal with the issues on ground, Mr. President needs to have a robust, national agriculture, strategy, reform strategy for us to have a sure-footed progression, with regards to food security, with regards to production, supporting the production economy. Don't forget that agriculture produces food for us. Agriculture is a source of medicinal and pharmaceutical support for us. Agriculture produces over half of the raw material for the productive industry, across the value chain. So it's a critical sector. Agriculture also, if you go back to the numbers I reeled out in the 60s, has the capacity to turn around the economy of this country and move us to be less dependent on hydrocarbons. So it's a very important sector, and I hope and pray in the next couple of months, moving into 2023, we'll be clear-eyed with regards to how or where or what agriculture should be doing to our socio-economic progress as a nation.
I believe you meant 2024 because we are almost wrapping up 2023.
Yes.
Yes. But I want to take you up on a statement you made with regards to the anchor borrower scheme that was put in place by the Buhari administration to addressing some of these issues as measures. We were looking at diversifying the economy at the time, and the anchor borrower scheme came into place. You said it was a scam. Perhaps you need to expatiate on what you meant by that and the challenges you saw that made it perhaps not achieve the needed result with desire that has found us, or that has placed us where we are today as it is with regards to the agricultural sector.
Thank you very much. The current investigation that has been initiated by Mr. President, with regards to the goings-on in the CBN under the leadership of Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the former governor of CBN, have started yielding some information to Nigerians. Before then, there was already an outcry. Over 1 trillion naira disbursed. But there's no clear accountability with regards to that money that was disbursed. We have not seen critical impacts, apart from what I call marginal impacts. With regards to the recovery of the money, we are hearing about 40% of that money is what has been recovered so far. It remains to be seen when Mr. President opens the book of reality. What I call the book of reality is the outcome of this investigation will actually tell us whether even the 40% has truly been recovered or not. We hear information about the former MD of Nitral, under investigation and all that. So these are pointers to the fact that that intervention, even though well thought out and noble, but in execution, became an issue, and that is why I call it a scam. Because the small-scale farmers that are supposed to be impacted were largely out of the loop with regards to that. And you can go on and on that. With regards to moving forward, I am one of the proponents that the agric intervention, such intervention programs, like I wrote in the column last week, should be removed from the focus of the CBN, so that CBN will focus on monetary and tangential fiscal policies, and let us have what I call the relevant focal point, MDAs, to focus on such interventions. I believe it is noble and it's a good thought concept, but in execution, if it is not domiciled with the right institution and run by the right people and the right processes and systems in a transparent and accountable manner, then it has become a scam. But then how we can move going forward is to restructure and realign, this critical provision for the industry, because intervention has to continue, albeit it should be done better. And that is what I mean by it is a scam. It should be done better moving forward.
All right.